Afternoon everybody, Silverbolt here, back from the Transformers review. Now, today I'm going to be taking you away from the cartoons and we're going to be delving into the realms of the comics. Now, the information I've got for this video is taken from the Transformers Dreamwave More Than Meets the Eye book. The storyline in that does differ somewhat from what's on Wikipedia. Okay, now this Dreamwaves book is the revised version, which is, as far as I'm aware, Hasbro endorsed of the 1980s Transformers Universe books. Okay, now, in the episode More Than Meets the Eye, there is a huge time difference from the first 10 minutes of the cartoon to when the Autobots and Decepticons wake up on the Ark. And that is a 4 million year difference of when those Transformers were in stasis lock. And it was often wondered about what actually happened on Cybertron for those 4 million years. Now, the cartoons don't explain this. This is where the comics come in. And the comics, in many regards, are actually much better than the Transformers cartoon themselves. After Prime and Megatron left Cybertron, sorry, the war between the Autobots and Decepticons stopped being so much a war for supremacy and started being a war for resources. The energy on Cybertron was running drastically low. Many areas of Cybertron were just this wasteland of dead buildings and dead robots. Now, Transformers themselves are not particularly fuel efficient. And in order to fix that, they developed the micromaster technology. This is Skystalker. Now, this review will not be on individual characters, mainly for the fact there's too many of them to do in one simple review, and I'm not doing a whole review on a toy an inch high. Okay? Now, the micromasters were a much more fuel-efficient version of Transformers themselves. They're obviously on a much smaller scale. They're much smaller. They're only about human-sized. So, as such, they were much more conservative where Energon was concerned. And they were built in order to, A, continue the war, and B, to find fuel reserves for the Autobots and Decepticons. Now, on both sides, the Micromasters are not well respected. They are seen as rookies by both factions, by both the Autobots and the Decepticons. And eventually the Micromasters turn around and say, fuck this, we're off. And at almost the same time, the Autobot and Decepticon Micromasters do a runner. And they go out into the wastes of Cybertron, where they pretty much break themselves down into little independent factions and little independent battle groups, owing no allegiance to owner themselves. They don't owe allegiance to the Autobots or the Decepticons. And the Micromaster cartoon comic itself isn't as nicey-nicey as the cartoons for the Generation 1. All the Autobots there all get on very well, with a few notable exceptions of like Cliffjumper and Mirage. With the Micromasters, many of them don't like each other. And it does come to blows between the Autobots, even between fellow Autobots. And as I said, they're reduced to these independent, working out of small bases, hit-and-run groups. Now, the Micromaster era comes to an end with the event of the Great Shutdown. And the Great Shutdown is where, finally, it wasn't enough energy even for the conservative Micromasters to use. And the entire planet just dies. And it shut down for an extraordinarily large amount of time. Which is where most of the 4 million years is taken up. Cybertron is a dead world. There's nothing on it. So you could ask yourself why the Quintessons don't try and take it back at this point, but let's not go there. The Micromasters, however, their day in the sun was done, but their legacy carried on in the form of the what would eventually become the Headmasters and Target Masters, and also the Power Masters, and going into the Beast Wars with the Predacons and the Maximals. That was all highly energon efficient Micromaster formats, because of course the Maximals and Predacons are much smaller than the Transformer counterparts that we knew in the 80s. Okay, now onto the toys. Now, one of the things that the Transformers didn't have, that many other toy ranges in the 80s did have, and even toy ranges that came from cartoons, things like Mask, Thundercats, even Visionaries, had bases or extra playsets. Transformers never had that, mainly because it's quite hard to make a base for a transforming car. Okay, there are exceptions to the rule. I mean, Prime's trailer for one, Megatron's gun deck for another one. But no specific playset bases. Micromasters fix this. Sorry, I got something stuck in my teeth. Micromaster playsets fix this. And the transforming vehicles become bases. I'll show you Skystalker in a bit. And consider the fact that Hasbro are very often this money-making, monstrous conglomerate business. They actually had a very good idea with these and actually did some very good things with them. Micromaster bases came in various sizes. Well, I'll tell you, there was two sizes. There was small and big. And the big little ones were just tiny little things like this. I forgot what the name of this one is now. I'll have a look on TFU what the name of this one is. I can't remember it. I'll do it for the second part of the video. Small little things like this that just transform very basically. I mean, this at the moment is a plane. However, if you take the rider out, snap that down, pull the guns out, which then fix on under there, right, and flip that bit up, and you've got an aircraft carrier. And they did very small things. They transformed small like that. Micromaster toy sets came in either teams of 4 or teams, I think it was 6. Because the teams of 6, there were actually 3 long vehicles that snapped together to form 6 individual robots. But the other ones came in teams of 4 for both the Autobot and the Decepticon teams, and you had the off-road patrol, the air patrol, and this is one of the Decepticon patrols. This is the race car patrol, and the Micromaster toys were lovely in the way that they transformed. So there is one in car mode. And one of the things I like about the Transformer toys in the robot modes is this little bit here, and it's the way this headpiece snaps down to form a chest piece. And I do like that, right. Skystalker is the leader of the Decepticons, and as such, counterfeiting, he has the biggest base. Did I say counterfeit? Anyway, he has the biggest base. The Autobots equivalent is Countdown, and I've got that on its way into the post to me. Okay, I'm going to stop the video, and I'm going to transform this little boy for you now, and assuming I can without it falling all over the place, I'll show you on camera, so just bear with me. Okay, this is Skystalker transformed into his base mode. And as you can see, it's a very large set. If I take another member of the race car patrol and stand in there, you know, you can see it's a large set. I can't even fit it completely in the camera screen. There we go. This toy now is about 20 years old, and the only thing I can say that I can fault-wise with it is the joints are getting a little loose. I mean, this wing, for instance, is very gone. But then in saying that, it was actually broken when it arrived to me in the post, which I wasn't impressed about. Especially seeing as how long this toy took a month to get to me from some twat on eBay, which I'll never go near again. The only bad experience I've had with eBay. But yeah, I don't compliment Hasbro very often. I am very much a Takara is better fan. But hats off to them, they really did do a good job with these toys. They really did. I love the Micromaster range, they're just so brilliant. Incidentally, this is flat top, and he fits, if you can get him on, quite snugly onto there. He's not supposed to, and obviously he's not supposed to, but he goes quite nice on there. He just has a little bit more bulk, and there's no set way of doing the Micromaster bases. I mean, I'm pretty sure the way I've got the top shuttle up here is different to the way that it was supposed to be done in the book, in the instruction booklet. But so there's no really set way of doing it. So you can alternate them a bit. My arm's getting tired holding them up. But yeah, fault-wise, I don't really have a fault with them. At least not with the Micromaster sets I've got. Anyway, if you can get them. They're not cheap. But they are a fantastic range with some lovely comics. This is a comic in its nice protective sleeve, which is not coming out because this is a #1 issue. There are some lovely comics and some lovely toys. So if you're a fan of the Micromaster range, if you like this tiny little mini play sets, then definitely pick some up. But for now, Silverbolt with Skystalker signing out, saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen.